Welcome everyone to today's Get Lovestrong with Avon panel. I'm Jemah and I'm your host for today, and I'm joined by some incredible guests where we'll be discussing the topic of intimate partner abuse. This year marks Avon's 20th year of commitment to help end violence against women and girls. And throughout this time, we've donated more than $91 million through our programmes and partnerships supporting more than 15 million women and girls worldwide. Before we dive into today's conversation, we're going to play a short film that sheds light on the strength and resilience of women who choose love rather than control in relationships.
And who are you trying to impress? Can't she do anything right? How much was this? You wasting our money again?
Abuse doesn't come with a big warning sign. It's often subtle and can progress over time.
To be Lovestrong is to know what is and isn't love.
When we're Lovestrong, we can protect ourselves.
And each other.
Get Lovestrong. Learn more at avonworldwide.com.
Okay, so it's super crucial that we actually understand the scale and the scope of intimate partner abuse right now. So Nikita, I'm going to come to you first if that's okay. You are a TV presenter, radio host, but you're also a newly ambassador for Refuge Charity. Can you just give us a bit of insight into the scope of intimate partner abuse today and what we're seeing?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of women going through this. Actually, 1 in 4 women are going to be experiencing this in their lifetime, which is a huge number. And it's not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional. I have friends that are going through it right now. You know, this happens daily. The police are getting calls every 30 seconds about, you know, domestic abuse, domestic violence. And I feel like it's something that is it's getting out of control, especially in the UK. So, you know, places like Refuge are getting thousands of calls where women are feeling unsafe.
Yeah, it's truly incredible, isn't it? I mean, I know that you said there 1 in 4 in the UK. We know globally it's 1 in 3 women that are affected by this. And I think, like you just said, abuse is not just physical, and we're definitely seeing a rise in more emotional abuse, more coercive control, which is really frightening, right, for a woman that could be in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, you know, maybe going through her phone and looking up into her bank account and going through her social media. I think social media is another thing that plays a big part in what is going on, and the rise of the abuse is through that. So it's quite scary how much.
Yeah, and it's definitely things that we just don't expect, right, as well, to show up within our relationships. And actually as well, some things that we might just portray as, oh, that's a bit normal, but actually these things are quite subtle and really, really difficult to recognise, aren't they? Yeah. And as we saw there in the film, you know, 3 of these signs that we've highlighted with Getting Lovestrong are controlling your money, controlling what you wear, but also knocking your confidence as well. So shall we talk about those 3 signs a little bit more in detail? Maz, I'm going to come to you first. Obviously, you are an incredible member of the Avon team, one of our members of our Allies Against Abuse networks as well. One of the signs that was mentioned in there was about controlling what you wear. Could you just share a little bit more about how this might show up in a relationship, and actually how can we control that within ourselves?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for one of the things, like what you wear and your style is really personal, and it's kind of like that's what makes you you. It's like your uniqueness. So to lose your identity, I think is really hard. Like, and it happens slowly. Like, you're probably not gonna all of a sudden change, but it'll be like little comments. It could be, don't wear that, or they'll portray it as something like to protect you, which I think is it's a societal norm. Like, you dress like that, you're going to get attention from other men, or you dress like that, you're after it. And it's like that kind of old-fashioned style that's kind of like inbuilt, like the misogyny that we've got, that we have to fight against, that keeps on coming, that you probably won't notice it, but then slowly your identity, slowly how you are as a person will soon change and soon go, and you'll yeah, you kind of like your confidence will be knocked and who you are will be knocked. And I think kind of like raising the awareness, or like thinking about it, like you say, we're not saying that if somebody says don't wear that or they don't like it, there's kind of different things and there's different respect to how it can be, how that conversation come up in relationships, whether it is something that your partner has instinctively been told or that's what they think, or whether it is something that they're a bit more sinister and they are controlling. And I think kind of having that awareness, or just having that little noticeability that actually this isn't right. I want to be who I am, and I want to wear what I want to wear. I want to be who I am, and you should love me. You should be in my relationship with me. Like, I'm not going to change for you, and you don't expect them to change either. And I think having that open conversations at the start to set your boundaries, to set what is going to be acceptable and what isn't, then you both know, is it something that needs to change, or is it something that you need to kind of escape and come away from?
Yeah, because boundaries are so important there, right? Yeah. Especially within those early situations in a relationship. And sometimes you think, well, I've just got with this person, how can I possibly set a boundary? But actually that's so important, and it might not necessarily be as obvious as someone going, don't wear that.
Yeah,
but
don't wear that lipstick, or don't do that.
Maybe alluding to this, isn't it? Wear this perfume, or I think you should wear this. And it could actually be really subtle.
Wear this outfit on a night out. Like, it'd be nice if they like buy you gifts and stuff, but yeah, at the same time it can be actually why, if it's not me.
Yeah, if it's not you, and just really staying true to who you are, I think, and what works for you is so important. And Leigh-Ann, if you don't mind, I can come to you now. Now, you are an amazing Avon sales leader, an incredible entrepreneur. You've built your business from scratch with Avon. You've got 2 young children as well, which is amazing. Can you talk to me a little bit more about the financial control side of things? You know, you've built your own business, but how has this potentially shown up for you maybe in the past, and actually how important is it as a woman to have your own financial independence?
Yeah, it's the same with all the other signs. It starts very small and, like you say, sometimes not even noticeable. Then it goes on to things like subtle comments like, I'm going to go and do the shopping because you buy rubbish, and I'm going to go and buy the kids' clothes because you get rubbish, that kind of thing, you know, and it builds up over time and over time. And I got to the point where I'm not going to be able to get a job, you're not capable, you haven't got any skills, and it just really breaks down your confidence.
Yeah, I think that's so important what you mentioned there. It's not just about having a bit of control over the shopping. Actually, this could lead on to them taking away your full economic independence. And we know that it's so important for us as women to play a part in the economy and to have our own financial independence. And for you, what steps did you take for yourself coming out of that relationship to ensure that you had that for yourself and your children?
It was when I joined Avon. It just completely changed my life from day one, just having something that I could call my own. And my girls as well, to show them that, you know, you can go out there and you can be a successful woman, that you don't need to rely on anybody else. It's all within you.
Yeah, definitely. Just having that own independence and something of your own for you and your children is absolutely vital, right, into what we do. And Nikita, the final sign that we saw there was about knocking your confidence. Now, Maz and Leigh-Ann have spoken about this, and I think it does all interconnect, doesn't it? But how does knocking your confidence show up? Because again, I think this is a super subtle sign that actually sometimes we can be like, is this abuse, or is this person just not quite understanding? So how can knocking your confidence show up, and actually what can we do to identify that?
Yeah, I think from what both ladies said, it's so true, everything that they've both said. And also it's like gaslighting. So women will be gaslighted and not realise that that's happening. Like, it is like these little comments that get made, you know, and knocking someone's confidence. And, you know, they could be a really happy, bubbly, confident person, and then these little comments every single day will chip away constantly at them. And it's that emotional abuse. So they might not be physical, but emotional abuse is still abuse. And you're essentially changing that woman, you're changing that person from who she was to something that she might not even recognise herself. So it's, you know, and also making that woman feel like she's not good enough. You know, she might start feeling guilty about things that she shouldn't feel guilty, like going to do the food shop, like you said. You know, that's a nice thing to go and do for your partner, isn't it? Or to do for the household. But then somebody's coming back and telling you, oh, that's rubbish, you know, you're going to start to believe what they're saying if they're saying it every day.
And how can we overcome that, and how can we even begin to identify it, like you said?
I think it is telling someone, because you're not always going to realise it's happening to yourself. And if you're in it every day, you're living with this person, you've got children with them, you're not going to realise what they're doing. You're going to just essentially take it, aren't you? So I think opening up and telling somebody, that friend or that colleague, might be able to recognise the signs for you, because most times women won't be able to recognise what's going on, especially if they've been in a marriage or relationship for however many years. It just might become the norm for them. So for me, I always say to somebody, if you've got someone who you feel like you can open up to, I think that's the most important thing. Even if it's just one person, it will help.
It will help. And you're so right. And I think, you know, it's almost become normalised. And I think sometimes as well, you know, we could be sat within our friendship group and that partner will be there and little digs will be made or little comments will be made. But even the people around you aren't necessarily thinking this is wrong. So I think it's so important, isn't it, for you to be able to identify it personally, to be able to set those boundaries and to hopefully put a stop to that knocking of confidence, because like you said, it does chip away over time. We're now going to hear from one of our incredible survivors who has bravely shared her story.
I wish I could tell you when my relationship turned abusive. In all honesty, I don't know. I wish I could tell you that I noticed when the violence started and when the verbal abuse started, but I don't. I was left confused, lonely, unsure of myself, and completely unconfident in all my decisions. After the relationship, I went on a self-empowerment journey that was years of therapy and working with Refuge to help other women who were in my place. The advice I would give someone if they didn't know their relationship was abusive or not simply is someone who loves you wouldn't hurt and traumatize you. This isn't your fault. It's not your job to fix them or excuse their bad behavior. I really wish that someone would have told me that.
We've talked a little bit about this, but how do we empower ourselves and each other, not only to recognise when these signs are showing up, but also to take those steps to freedom, financial freedom, whatever that looks like for that person? So I'd love to talk with you all a little bit more about that now. Leigh-Ann, just coming back to you in your business, I mean, let us know how many amazing women are within your team at Avon, first of all.
I've got 100 reps and sales leaders in my team.
Which is phenomenal, right? So it's honestly amazing, because you've built that from scratch and you've empowered all of these incredible women and a few men, I'm sure, to obviously learn and embrace their own power. But how important is it for you that you're giving your team the resources and the knowledge to be able to support with this issue, but more so as well, like your customers and your children as well? So how are you within your community empowering women on this issue?
I just share really openly, and I always make sure there's an open, safe space for everybody to reach out to me. I'm very open about my story, the things that I've been through, just so they know that they can reach out to me. I mean, just yesterday when I was delivering books, I had my customer give me a big hug after I told her what was happening. And she started talking to me then about how her husband, he's now passed away, and things that he used to do to her. And it was just really nice to sort of, know that you're helping other people open up and to give them support, even if it is in the past.
Yeah, I think that's safe space, isn't it? Yeah, and definitely having that safe space to be able to just talk openly, because again, it can be quite, when you first start to realise, I guess it can be quite embarrassing, it can feel quite lonely. So to know that you are there as that open support to signpost in the right direction is amazing. Thank you. And Maz, as we said at the beginning, you are an incredible member of the Avon Allies Against Abuse network. Could you just explain a little bit more about what that is, what you do as part of that network, and how that network empowers other employees just like you within Avon?
Yeah, of course. So we're an amazing group, and it's the highlight of my job at Avon. I think just to be part of a team of like-minded people who want to end violence against women and girls and do everything they can to be a voice, be an ally, be a partner and be a safe place for someone to come and open up. To share that there is something better at the end, and you're not ever going to be alone in your journey. And yeah, to be there and being part of what we've done at Avon with our protocol, like, it's incredible to know that as a woman or a man, if you're going through abuse, that you can reach out, and we're there to support you, to give you that safe space. And the biggest thing is to believe you. Like, we're not going to question you, we're not going to judge you, we're going to be there for you. Like, and like the biggest one in Avon is when we have our paid leave, because it's going to be incredibly difficult, like how you then see your future without the person in your life, that you've got the security of a job, you've got the security of income, you've got security of the financial safetyness around you. Like, you're not going to worry about having to come into work and potentially lose your job at the same time as you're having to go through such a difficult time in your personal life. So for me, that's one of the biggest things that we offer, and like the safe space and just believe in you, like having that step to say that something isn't right, or you're hurt, or you're in danger, or you don't feel comfortable in your personal life and at home where you should feel safe, to be able to come into work and kind of know that there is that place for you, I think it's amazing. And it's so important for other businesses to realise that as well. We spend most of our time at work. Like, it's for some people, it will be their safe place to come to, and if they can't open up or can't be themselves or can't get that refuge or that support, then I think you're missing out. They're missing out on that level of security and the level of empathy that you can give your employees. So yeah, it's incredible.
I mean, I think you said it there. We spend most of our times working, right? And I think, again, you know, with the rise of just working from home, there's a lot more women and men that potentially are experiencing this, but from, you know,
and I guess
like you can't see that.
If you're at home with your partner as well, you're not going to be able to escape. They're going to be watching you. They're going to be they'll be watching you at home on your personal, on your socials, but then they're now watching you while you're at work and how you interact with people at work as well, which can be really scary.
Yeah, really scary. So I guess just to have that person to go to at work that actually is your colleague, but your trained associates as well.
So we've just finished some amazing training with No More, where we're learning about the different signs, learning about the more common signs, like all the more current signs, because obviously as society changes and as we change in technical advances with like social media, what to look out for, like world of online dating, knowing don't give your phone to someone to put their contact in, because you can turn on location services. Like, when I think everybody in our call was just gobsmacked that we didn't know that to start with. So yeah, having that awareness and kind of like bringing a survivor's guide to it, and just having that trust and knowing that we're there.
Yeah, it's truly amazing, isn't it? I think just to create that safe space for people to be able to thrive within work. But I think most importantly of all, like you said, implementing something like paid leave is so vital for a survivor or someone going through this. To know that they aren't going to lose out on income, for example, is so important, and so reassuring for that person to know that actually that business is there for them through that whole journey. Incredible, thank you. And Nikita, as we said, you know, you are an amazing ambassador for Refuge, and there's so many NGOs around our world, but also in the UK. Can you tell us a little bit more about that charity support and what that journey might look like? Because again, I think when we're maybe first realising, it can be quite daunting, quite nerve-wracking, feel quite lonely. Who do we speak to? Where do we go? What is that journey going to look like? So can you just share a little bit more about that journey if you reached out to an NGO?
Yeah, so if you do reach out to an NGO or somewhere like Refuge, you will receive like 24-hour helpline, so you can call anytime. There's so many volunteers that work with Refuge, you know, someone there to listen to you, whatever your needs are. Also, you know, if you need housing, you know, Refuge have just done this amazing brick by brick campaign, so basically building houses for women that need to escape essentially from danger. So if they have pets and they have children, and you know, I think for a lot of women, the reason why they can't leave certain situations is because of financial situation. They might not be able to afford it. They think, how am I going to be able to survive with my kids and my pets? So I think that's a really big factor. So it's somewhere safe that women can go if they need to physically get out and leave, if they need someone to just talk to and just let it all out, someone to speak to on the phone. Another amazing feature that Refuge have is on their website, if you are talking to them, it won't show up on your browser history. So I know a lot of people have gone through situations, relationships where their abuser is going through their phone, social media, web browser, search history. So, like you said as well, people working from home, they're always on a laptop. Their partner or abuser might go and search what they're looking at, and it won't come up. And I think that's a really important thing to highlight, that that can keep you safe, because that's obviously another factor. A lot of women might be scared to even search for something like a Refuge or another NGO because they don't want to get found out that they're trying to get help, and then they think it might make it worse for themselves. So it's really important that everyone knows there is somewhere like Refuge, because I know in my community, in the British Asian community, don't always know that there's somewhere they can go, and a lot of times they will hide the fact that something's going on with their partner or abuser, and they often feel like they can't go to family because so often, the mindset is a little bit different. They might feel like, you can't air what's going on. They might feel embarrassed, scared, alone. They don't know that they can talk about what's going on. So I think that it's important to highlight there are so many amazing places that you actually can turn to, and you can feel safe when doing so.
Absolutely. I mean, Refuge 50 years just over in the UK, which is truly incredible. And I think as well, it's so true, isn't it, of any NGO really. There will always be confidentiality. There will always be the right resources, right through from legal support, like everything that person could ever need. And it's not about being fearful to speak to someone, but these are totally unbiased. People will believe you. And it's just about taking that step, isn't it? To think, okay, these resources are here. Let me have a look and let me reach out for some help. And I think after that initial conversation with an NGO, you instantly feel better and more at ease about the next steps. Is that right?
And I think, just to add, that I think it's women that have been through what you've gone through. So it's not just like people that are just working there or just volunteering there just for the sake of it. It's women that really understand what you've gone through. It's, survivors. It's people that have a personal, relationship with something like domestic abuse and been through it themselves. And, even for me, I'm not just an ambassador for it for the sake of it. It's genuinely something that I've personally gone through, grown up in a violent environment. So I really know when I've met with survivors, it's like you just get each other, because it's talking about something that you've all been through and you kind of all bond over it, but it also feels good to speak about it. And it does feel empowering to just kind of let it out, and in a safe space, a safe environment where you know that nobody's going to judge you and you all actually do understand.
Yeah, I think that's so important, isn't it, about having those safe people to speak to, because you're so right, like you will feel judged maybe, or a little bit even embarrassed sometimes that this has happened to you, and it's like, who do I speak to, where do I go? But to know that there's a group of women or another woman or anybody that's gone through the same situation, you can really relate to that person. I just think it...
Especially if, like, your friend groups, they're going to know your partner, right? They're going to be like, oh, no, he's not like that. Like, my dad told me that my ex was a really good guy, and I'm like, maybe to you, but not to me. So, like, having that, you've got that barrier, and you've got, like you said, you've got somebody who's, or a group of people who are there to support you, that know what you're going to face. They know what you think people are going to think about you, even though that's not necessarily the case. But like, you play it in your head that you're not going to be, you're making something bigger than it is, and they'll be like, actually, no, we're here for you.
What you're saying is so valid. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, your feelings are valid. What you're experiencing is valid. Yeah,
100%. I just love it as well, just being able to speak about this issue, and just to know that there's other women in that situation ready to support you. And it's so right about the NGOs, No More have an amazing directory online. No matter where you are, no matter what country you live in, all of the services are listed on there, which again, just have that one-stop place to go, to think, right, if I do anything, I'm just going to go and have a look and see what's available in my area, is so vital, just to raise awareness of that.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that we're coming to the end of our conversation, but I would love to just ask you all, if you could share one piece of information with somebody that is maybe just starting to recognise that this is happening to them or that their relationship is unhealthy, what do you think that advice would be? Maz, I'll come to you first.
So I would say that if you've got a close group of friends or your friends, like, start the conversations, just have that initial, this has happened, what do you think? And if you're thinking that your friend is in a situation, like, have that open conversation and share what your boundaries are, share what your expectations of a relationship is, so that you can go to your friends and go, actually, not am I overreacting, or like, did that actually happen? What do you think? And if you lay out where your boundaries are from the very beginning, you're kind of able to put your self-worth out there. Like, you're not going to take a step back and you're not going to go, actually, I'm going to accept anything less. This is what I want, and this is what you want for your friends. Like, we want the best for everybody in our lives who are close to and who we love, and we should be able to, like, share and go, this is what I want. Can you help me find it? But I think if you're open, and if it's a discussion that we have out loud, it's gonna kind of like set the precedence for all your relationships going forward, and what other people should think as well.
Yeah, and it's not even, it is about what you want, but it's almost just what everyone deserves, right?
Yeah.
It's this like basic level of respect from their partner. And I think that's so important, just to mention those boundaries early on. And it's not about going to someone saying, this is what I expect of you, but actually just having that open discussion with your partner is so important.
Yeah, partner and friends. I think, like, the minute something feels wrong and trust your gut, you know that actually you can share. You go, like, this is what I was this is what I was hoping for, this is what I have, and this is what's happening. So yeah, your gut is your gut, and your boundaries, I think, are your biggest two.
Amazing, thank you. Nikita, I'll come to you next.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Maz said, but it's also just putting you first. And, you know, if you are going through a certain situation that you feel like is, you know, damaging to your mental health and physically as well, and you feel like you're changing and you're not who you feel like you are as a woman, I think it's really important that women put themselves first. And like, I know it's not easy to recognise the signs, but if you feel like mentally you're not feeling 100% and you're not as happy as maybe you used to be, or maybe as happy as you are when you're with your girl mates or your colleagues, just recognising that, putting yourself first and your happiness comes first. And also, like we've said already, but just speaking to somebody. And like, I know it's not easy to just open up and talk about what's going on in your home or in your relationship, but if you do have anyone at all that you could let it out on, that will really, really help. And just if you are recognising the signs for a friend or for a colleague or somebody you work with, just being that kind of shoulder, or, you know, that ear to listen to, that would really help, I think, because I've gone through it recently with my friends, and I've had to be that person to be like, look, what's happening to you is not right, and I'm going to be there for you. But I think it always takes another woman to kind of tell that friend or colleague, like, what's happening to you is not okay. So just kind of being aware of people around you, I think, and just having that person to be open with is really important.
And that's it, just being like, because you know yourself ultimately, right? So I definitely think that you'll notice if your confidence starts to diminish, and, you know, you can pinpoint those reasons. I think that's just so important, just remembering who you are and standing by that. Amazing. And Leigh-Ann, last but not least.
Yeah, mine's a mix of both, really. It's reaching out and understanding what is your normal. If something feels a bit off, or you get a bit of an icky feeling in your tummy, like, really listen to that. But also to understand that you're not going mad. I spent 3 years thinking I was going mad. I couldn't reach out to anybody. I didn't even reach out to any charities, because I just thought, well, they're not going to know, they're not going to understand, when in actual fact they've been through it as well. So they're the best people that you could reach out to. If you don't have any friends or family around, just reach out to somebody and go with your gut.
Yeah, I love that. Just go with your gut and trust your gut, for sure. A huge thank you to all of our panellists today for joining us. And remember, abuse doesn't come with a big warning sign. It's often about recognising those subtle signs. But we do welcome everybody to head over to the Get Lovestrong platform at avonworldwide.com to learn more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.